Da 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 da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes to get those notifications out. In the meantime, if you've never popped into one of my lives before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. And admittedly, when I have time off for myself, when I am in that space where I can actually absorb and listen and concentrate, that I like to spend my time learning. And I have been in quite a few actually, more than usual, because usually I'm in the mindset, usually I'm working in emotions. But for this set of days off that I have, and I'm going back into the work week and that job that puts the roof over my head, grateful to have that job to ground in so I don't float away like a bouquet of helium balloons. I just have that picture in my mind every time I say that because it is so true. But I have been in documentaries quite a bit this set of days off that I had. And today, I have been hard into, again, evolution. I really, really love history. I love ancient history. I love the discoveries in the science world. And are you kidding me? They are making such great strides. They're not looking for fossils and bones and skulls of Dragon Man anymore. They're doing DNA samples of dirt that these beings, when they passed away, where they dropped. They're doing the DNA on fossilized droppings. Like, they are making such incredible discoveries. Like, right, where the world has certain ideas, it's going to be pretty hard to deny. I would say it would have to be pretty idiotic to deny, because that would only signify somebody's intelligence. Because, right, evidence is evidence. Even in my own movement, working on these platforms, I make it clear, right? It's through my experiences and my adventures and in my own reckoning and perspective of things, as I move along. And I'm just optimistic and hopeful, right? And maybe wishful, but also believing that it's possible. That if I just show up, right? That if I share that story of mine, that life of mine, that, we live in a digital age, that somewheres along the line, that somebody who has something magnificent to bring to the table, somebody who was meant to impact this world in its evolution. I am certain of it, only because of my own interest and curiosities. I remember as a child, a small child, here we go. I remember as a small child just starting school, like my very first grade, and I failed the first grade. Technically, I failed the first grade. But I loved dinosaurs. I wanted to be an archaeologist, right? Not realizing at that age it was even a possibility. But I was so inside of myself. I was so introverted. And by that time of 6 years old, I can personally remember 4 different homes by the time I'm 6 years. That's what I remember. And I don't remember too much before the age of 3 or 4. So that says a little bit about that nomad that my father was. It says a little bit about that abrupt change that questioning because I didn't have a say in that. I just kind of had to move and ride those waves, not understanding, but just trusting and believing in my dad that right and in my parents that they would land us in a good spot. But I sure did love dinosaurs. I wanted to be an archaeologist. I knew what an archaeologist was. I was all proud of myself at that age to even be able to pronounce that word, archaeologist. But if I had carried forward in that education of history, right? I didn't get that opportunity. That dream was squashed very, very early. But despite that, and that's the word that we have this week, despite that, my love for history stayed with me my entire life. My entire life. Books. When I'm growing up, it was books. It was conversations with my dad, who also liked history, though he loved the future more than he loved the past. But it was my love for history that makes it possible that I'm sitting here right now with information and ideas and perspectives of how everything ties together in an explanation as to, right, this experience that I'm having, right? If I had that time to go to school, to seriously take on my passions of history, I would have figured out that it wasn't an archaeologist that I wanted to be. I mean, it still could have been at 13, 14, 15 when it was Egypt I was all about crazy for, right? And I could have been an Egyptologist, which is still an archaeologist, right? But if I had gone to university and if I had pursued my passions in history, most definitely I wouldn't be sitting here right now with these experiences to share. I would have discovered my passion was not archaeology, but actually a stem of anthropology, social anthropology. And it can be broken down, right, in that historical and that evolutionary manner that I do kind of like to play in, right? It could have been broken down anymore. And at any stage of that education and learning, I could have stopped and I could have been, right, an archaeologist digging up buried bones. And what a great job that would be, connecting with Mother Nature like that every day, right? As my job, as that thing that puts a paycheck in my bank account every 2 weeks. What an adventure that would have been, right? But Egyptology, and I ran off to Egypt and I dug up a tomb bigger than Tutankhamun, right? That would have been pretty incredible. But to make some of these breakthroughs in even forensic, right? Like discovering the DNA of different species of humans, right? Takes all kinds to make the world. That is the truth. But a species of human, I mean, there were lots of different humans on this earth, right? Just like even today, there are different humans on this earth. We all look different, all built different. We all adapted different. We have, right, depending on our environment, our experiences, our religious idea, right, in our choices, right? So grateful that my grandfather, right, despite being herded and taught and projected onto by other people's ideas, he took the reins of his own life and made that decision to come to North America in the 1800s or early 1900s, right? Established us here, that I live in a country that I could express myself as somebody in a low income household, right? Because if I was in a low income household in Africa, how would I get this message out to the world with the impact that I would like to bring it to the world with? It would be challenging. So we look at the world and we go, oh, it's a terrible, terrible world. But look at where you're sitting compared to where somebody else is sitting in another part of the world. Or go back 100 years, 200 years, go back to the Neanderthals, right? And see how easy it was to make an impact back then. But we didn't have a choice. You work with the tools that you were given. And I work with what comes across my path. And you know what I'm grateful for? I am grateful for the tools that have come across my path. That despite, right, that I didn't get to be an archaeologist, that I'm still dabbling in my interests. And not only am I dabbling in my interests, I can see how those interests are tied into my movement and to my ideas and my perspectives. And it makes it easier for me to go out there and find people, right, unique and dynamic, doing their own thing with some of these same ideas and passions that I have. Grateful that I am diverse in my interests. I am, right? Because it has given me a unique life to look back on in my in my old age when I'm not capable, right, of doing what I'm doing now. So I'm gonna make, right, lessons from my father. He sucked up life. I'm sucking up life too, right? I'm taking on that challenge, right? And also at the same time, right? Grateful that despite that pushback, that I wasn't able to be an archaeologist. I wasn't able to be an anthropologist, specifically a social anthropologist, right? Working in forensic, working in ancient history. Was that even a possibility 100 years ago? I bet you it was a thought, right? Right? And what you think about is realized, and how magnificent, right? That even in our limitations in the moment, when in this moment we don't have those tools, right? It doesn't look like a possibility, right? That if you just think about it, if you just dream about it, if you just set that goal and start moving towards it, somewheres along the line, something will come across your path, right? It'll just kind of keep you company as you pick up the lessons to be able, right, to work with, live with, deal with whatever you dreamed up for yourself or others or the whole world. Okay, you guys. Kind of. I don't know about that one. I'll come back in when I get home from work tonight and delve into it. It has been a great set of days off. I got my camp spots are all done, you guys. Right, this trip is happening. Right, I'm going to make it the most magnificent trip that, right, this human being could possibly want. Okay, you guys. Let's start this work week. I hope everybody, right, you're coming to the end of your work week and you fill up your days off with some magnificent for yourself. Ah, Owen, oh my goodness. It's been a while since I've seen you in this one. I hope you're doing great, dear. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for popping in. I am heading out now to start the work week, right? Every day is a work week, but it's just different work, isn't it? It's just different work. Everybody, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. No problem. We noticed, but we understand 100%. Maybe we'll see you next Sunday. Have a great couple of days, Owen. Bye-bye. Oh, show and tell this Sunday. Show up for show and tell. Okay, bye-bye.